네, 안녕하세요. 마태복음 24장부터 읽기 시작하겠습니다. Matthew chapter 24. And Jesus came out from the temple and was going away, and his disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple. But he answered and said to them, Do you not see all these things? Truly I say to you, there shall be no means be left here, a stone upon a stone, which shall not be thrown down. And as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, Tell us, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of your coming and of the consummation of the age? And Jesus answered and said to them, See that no one leads you astray. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and they will lead many astray.
And you will be hearing of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for it must happen, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise up against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these things are the beginning of birth pangs, and they will deliver you to tribulation and will kill you, and you will be hated by all the nations because of my name. And at that time, many will be stumbled and will deliver up one another and will hate one another.
And many false prophets will arise and will lead many astray. And because lawlessness will be multiplied, the love of many will grow cold. But he who hath endured to the end, this one shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole inhabited earth for a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. Therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation, which was spoken of through Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place, let him who reads understand.
Then let those in Judea flee to the mountains. Let him who is on the housetop not come down to take the things out of his house. And let him who is in the field not turn back to take his garment. But woe to those who are pregnant and to those who are nursing babies in those days. And pray that your flight may not be in winter, nor on a Sabbath.
For at that time there will be great tribulation, such as has not occurred from the beginning of the world until now, nor shall by any means ever occur. And unless those days has been cut short, no flesh would be saved, but on account of the chosen, those days will be cut short. At that time, if anyone says to you, Behold, here is the Christ, or here, do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will arise and will show great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the chosen. Behold, I have told you beforehand.
Therefore, if they say to you, Behold, he is in the wilderness, do not go forth. Behold, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it.
To Christ's comings to earth, VV 27:30.
For just as the lightning comes forth from the east and shines to the west, so will the coming of the Son of Man be. Wherever the corpse is, there will the vultures be gathered together. And immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of heavens will be shaken. And at that time, the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven. And then all the tribes of the land will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
3. The gathering of Israel, V31. And he will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his chosen together from the four winds, from one end of the heavens to the other end. 2. Concerning the church, 24:32 to 25:30. A. Watching and being ready, 24:32 to 44. But learn the parable from the fig tree. As soon as its branch has become tender and puts forth its leaves, you know that the summer is near. So also you, when you see all these things, know that it is near at the doors. Truly I say to you that this generation shall by no means pass away until all these things happen. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words shall by no means pass away.
But concerning that day and hour, no one knows, not even the angels of the heavens, nor the Son, but the Father only. For just as the days of Noah were, so will the coming of the Son of Man be. For as they were in those days before the flood, eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day in which Noah entered into the ark. And they did not know that judgment was coming until the flood came and took all away. So also will the coming of the Son of Man be. At that time, 2 men will be in the field, one is taken and one is left.
2 women will be grinding at the mill, one is taken and one is left. Watch therefore, for you do not know on what day your Lord comes. But know this, that if the householder has known in which watch the thief was coming, he would have watched and would not have allowed his house to be broken into. For this reason, you also be ready, because at an hour when you do not expect it, the Son of Man is coming.
B, being faithful and prudent. 24, 45, 51.
Who then is the faithful and prudent slave, whom the master has set over his household to give them food at the proper time?
Blessed is that slave whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. Truly I say to you that he will set him over all his possessions. But if that evil slave says in his heart, my master delays, and begins to beat his fellow slaves and eats and drinks with the drunken, the master of that slave will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour which he does not know. Will cut him asunder and appoint his portion with the hypocrites. In that place there will be the weeping and the gnashing of teeth.
C, parable for watchfulness. 25, 1:13.
At that time, the kingdom of the heavens will be likened to 10 virgins, who took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were foolish, and 5 were prudent. But the foolish, when they took their lamps, did not take oil with them. But the prudent took oil in their vessels with their lamps. And while the bridegroom delayed, they became drowsy and slept.
But at midnight there was a cry, behold the bridegroom, go forth to meet him. And all those virgins arose and trimmed their own lamps. And the foolish said to the prudent, give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out. But the prudent answered, saying, perhaps there will not be enough for us and for you. Go rather to those who sell and buy for yourselves. And as they were going away to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the wedding feast, and the door was shut.
And later the rest of the virgins came also, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, truly, I say to you, I do not know you. Watch therefore, for you do not know the day nor the hour.
A parable for faithfulness. 25 to 14 to 30.
For the kingdom of the heavens is just like a man about to go abroad, who called his own slaves and delivered to them his possessions. To one he gave 5 talents, and to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his own ability. And he went abroad.
Immediately he who had received 5 talents went and traded with them and gained another 5. Similarly, he who had received 2 gained another 2. But he who had received the 1 went off and dug in the earth and hid his master's money. Now, after a long time, the master of those slaves came and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came and brought another 5 talents, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained another 5 talents.
His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful slave. You were faithful over few things. I will set you over many things. Enter into the joy of your master. And he who had received the 2 talents also came and said, Master, you delivered me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained another 2 talents. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful slave. You were faithful over a few things. I will set you over many things. Enter into the joy of your master. Then he who had received the 1 talent also came and said, Master, I knew about you, that you are a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you did not winnow. And I was afraid and went off and hid your talent in the earth. Behold, you have what is yours.
And his master answered and said to him, Evil and slothful slave, you knew that I reap where I did not sow, and gather where I did not winnow. Therefore, you should have deposited my money with the money changers, and when I came, I would have recovered what is mine with interest. Take away, therefore, the talent from him, and give it to him who has the 10 talents. For to everyone who has, more shall be given, and he shall abound. But from him who does not have, even that which he has shall be taken away from him. And cast out the useless slave into the outer darkness. In that place there will be the weeping and the gnashing of teeth.
Concerning the nations, chapter 25, verse 31 to verse 46. A. Christ coming to be enthroned in glory, verse 31. But when the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, at that time he will sit on the throne of his glory, gathering all the nations for the exercising of judgment, verse 32 to verse 46. And all the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate them from one another, just as the shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And he who will set the sheep on his right hand and the goats on the left. And the king will say to those on his right hand, Come, you who are blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me a drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in.
Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when have we seen you hungry and have fed you, or thirsty and have given you a drink? And when have we seen you a stranger and have taken you in, or naked, or have come to you? And when have we seen you sick or in prison and have come to you? And the king will answer and say to them, Truly I say to you, inasmuch as you have done it to one of these, the least of my brothers, you have done it to me.
Then he will say also to those on the left, Go away from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you didn't give me anything to eat. I was thirsty, and you did not give me drink. I was a stranger, and you did not take me in. Naked, and you did not clothe me. Sick and in prison, and you did not visit me. Then they also will answer, say, Lord, when have we seen you hungry and thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not administer to you? Then he will answer them, saying, Truly I say to you, inasmuch as you did not do it to one of the least of these, neither have you done it to me.
And these shall go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous into eternal life. F. The completion of rejection, 26, 1 to 27, 66.
The fourth unveiling of the crucifixion. Chapter 26, verse 1 and verse 2.
And when Jesus finished all these words, he said to his disciples, "You know that after 2 days the Passover takes place, and the Son of Man is being delivered up to be crucified." Then the chief priests and the elders of the people were gathered together in the courtyard of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas. And they took counsel together to seize Jesus by craftiness and kill him. But they said, "Not at the feast, lest there will be an uproar among the people."
Now when Jesus was ambassading in the house of Simon the leper, a woman came to him having an alabaster flask of ointment of great value, and she poured it on his head as he reclined at table. But when the disciples saw this, they were indignant, saying, "Why this waste? For this could have been sold for much and given to the poor." But Jesus, knowing it, said to them, "Why do you trouble the woman? She has done a noble deed to me.
For the poor you have with you always, but you do not always have me. For in pouring out this ointment on my body, she has done it for my burial. There, truly I say to you, wherever this gospel is proclaimed in the whole world, what this woman has done shall also be told as a memorial of her." At that time, one of the 12, the one called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and said, "What are you willing to give me, and I will deliver him to you?" And they weighed out to him 30 pieces of silver.
And from then on, they sought opportunity to deliver him up. Now, on the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus, saying, "Where do you want us to prepare for you to eat the Passover?" And he said, "Go into the city to a certain man and say to him, 'The teacher says, my time is near. I am keeping the Passover in your house with my disciples.'" And the disciples did as Jesus directed them, and they prepared the Passover. And when evening fell, he reclined at table with the 12.
And as they were eating, he said, "Truly, I say to you that one of you will betray me." And being greatly grieved, each one of them began to say to him, "I am not the one, am I, Lord?" And he answered and said, "The one who dips his hand with me in the dish, this one will betray me. The Son of Man is going away, even as it is written concerning him. But woe to that the man through whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been good for that man if he had not been born." And Judas, who was betraying him, answered and said, "I am not the one, am I, Rabbi?" He said to him, "You have said it yourself."
And as they were eating, Jesus took bread and blessed it, and he broke it and gave it to the disciples and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." And he took a cup and gave thanks, and he gave it to them, saying, "Drink of it, all of you, for this is my blood of the covenant, which is being poured out for many for forgiveness of sins. But I say to you, I shall by no means drink of this product of the vine from now on, until that day when I drink it new with you in the kingdom of my Father." And after singing a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives.
And Jesus said to them, "You will all be stumbled because of me this night, for it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have been raised, I will go before you into Galilee." Then Peter answered and said to him, "If all will be stumbled because of you, I will never be stumbled." Jesus said to him, "Truly I say to you that in this night, before a rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Jesus said to him, "Even if I must die with you, I will by no means deny you." And all the disciples said likewise.
Then Jesus came with them to a place called Gethsemane, And he said to the disciples, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." And taking Peter and the two sons of Zebedee aside, he began to be sorrowful and deeply distressed. Then he said to them, "My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even to death. Remain here and watch me." And going forward a little, he fell on his face and prayed, saying, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me, yet not as I will, but as you will." And he came to the disciples and found them sleeping. And he said to Peter, "So were you not able to watch with me for 1 hour?
Watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." Again, going away a second time, he prayed, saying, "My Father, if this cannot pass away unless I drink it, your will be done." And coming again, he found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy. And leaving them, he went away again and prayed a third time, saying the same word again. Then he came to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Behold, the hour has drawn near, and the Son of Man is being delivered up into the hands of sinners.
Arise, let us be going. Behold, the one who is betraying me has drawn near." And while he was still speaking, behold, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with him a great crowd with swords and clubs from the chief priests and elders of the people. Now the ones who was betraying him had given them a sign, saying, "Whomever I kiss, he is the one, seize him." And immediately he came to Jesus and said, "Rejoice, Rabbi," and kissed him affectionately. But Jesus said to him, "Friend, what are you here for?" Then they came and laid hands on Jesus and seized him.
And behold, one of those with Jesus stretched out his hand and drew his sword, and struck the slave of the high priest, and took off his ear. Then Jesus said to him, "Return your sword to its place, for all those who take up the sword will perish by the sword. Or do you think that I cannot beseech my Father, and he will provide me at once with more than 12 legions of angels? How then shall the scriptures be fulfilled, which say that it must happen this way?" In that hour, Jesus said to the crowds, "Have you come out as against a robber with swords and clubs to arrest me? Day after day, I sat in the temple teaching, and you did not seize me."
But all of this happened in order that the writings of the prophets may be fulfilled. Then all the disciples left him and fled. And those who seized Jesus led him away to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the scribes and elders had gathered. And Peter followed him at a distance to the courtyard of the high priest. And entering within, he sat with the attendants to see the end. Now the chief priests and the whole Sanhedrin were seeking false testimony against Jesus, so that they might put him to death. And when they did not find it, though many false witnesses came forward, but later 2 came.
And said, "This man said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and build it up in 3 days." And the high priest stood up and said to him, "Do you answer nothing? What is it that these testify against you?" But Jesus remained silent. And the high priest said to him, "I charge you to swear by the living God to tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God." Jesus said to him, "You have said rightly. Nevertheless, I say to you, from now on you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of power and coming on the clouds of heaven." Then the high priest tore his garments, saying, "He has blasphemed. What further needs do we have of witness? Behold, now you have heard the blasphemy."
"What do you think?" And they answered and said, "He is worthy of death." Then they spat in his face and beat him with their fists. And others slapped him, saying, Profess to us Christ, who is the one who hit you. Now Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard, and a servant girl came to him and said, You also were with Jesus the Galilean. But he denied it before, saying, I do not know what you are talking about.
And after he had gone out to the porch, another girl saw him and said to those who were there, This man was with Jesus the Nazarene. And again he denied it with an oath, I do not know the man. And after a little while, those who were standing there came to Peter and said, Surely you also are the one of them, for your speech also makes it clear that you are. Then he began to curse and to swear, I do not know the man. And immediately a rooster crowed. And Peter remembered the word which Jesus had said, Before a rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. And he went out and wept bitterly.
예, 오늘 여기까지 읽겠습니다. 감사합니다.